surrounded by ice and snow, with howling winds outside and snowflakes dancing across the sky. The man used local materials to build a shelter with ice blocks on the flat, open, frozen lake surface. The structure was not only extremely sturdy, but the interior space was sufficient for one person to live in. Mark, unseen for a long time, still maintained his nomadic outdoor lifestyle. Today, with nothing to do, his gaze fell on the frozen lake surface by his door, deciding to build a unique ice shelter using local materials. But the ice layer was much thicker and harder than expected. After switching ice tools 3 times, progress remained minimal. To improve efficiency, Mark finally brought out his powerful chainsaw. With this powerful tool, cutting efficiency instantly improved, and he quickly cut a standard rectangular ice block about 20 centimeters thick. He dragged the ice block to shore, marked the hut's footprint on the ground, placed blocks precisely, then returned to the lake for more ice. Arranging them tightly along the marked lines, he gradually formed a circle of solid ice walls. The frozen lake served as a natural transport channel, allowing ice blocks to slide smoothly, saving Mark considerable effort. To ensure the ice walls fit perfectly together, some blocks needed careful adjustments to guarantee complete adhesion. Small gaps at the joints were filled with ice slush produced from crushed ice. In the extreme cold, this slush quickly froze solid, firmly bonding the separate blocks together to form a sturdy, unified wall. After completing the bottom layer, he continued stacking ice blocks upward using the same method, gradually increasing the igloo's height. By the next day, snowflakes were falling in the forest and the temperature had dropped significantly compared to the previous day. The lake surface that had been cut open had refrozen into solid ice in the low temperatures. To speed up construction, Mark braved the snow, shuttling between the lake and shelter, constantly carrying ice blocks, methodically raising the walls like stacking wood. He set the wall height at 7 times his height, ensuring enough interior space while preventing collapse risk from walls being too high. When the walls reached ideal height, Mark poured water over the ice block's surface and joints. The extreme cold instantly froze the water, forming a solid ice shell that made the connections between blocks more secure. By the 3rd day, the sunny weather drained Mark's energy as he approached the now formed igloo to mark the entrance location on the side wall. He carefully cut with a chainsaw, creating just enough space for one person to pass through, minimizing heat loss while meeting access needs. After completing the doorway, Mark turned to sealing the roof. He first cut the ice blocks to uniform height, ensuring a flat roof support surface. Then he gathered wooden pieces to create the roof's frame structure. Mark went to a nearby wetland to harvest reeds. This natural material provides excellent insulation and waterproofing, making it ideal for the roof. He bundled the reeds together, securing them with rope before laying them across the frame. Finally, he covered the reed layer with snow, like adding a blanket, effectively reducing heat loss from inside. After completing the igloo construction, Mark began arranging the interior. He brought shaped ice blocks, positioned them along one wall as a base, then carved holes using a chisel. He embedded 2 logs securely, then laid wooden pieces across them to create a flat bed platform, making a dedicated resting area. Looking at the somewhat empty room, Mark had the idea of using door panels, cutting them into small pieces to create a tabletop. It could hold everyday items and also serve as a dining table. He didn't waste the remaining space beside the table, similarly building a small tabletop from ice blocks. After arranging everything properly, Mark retrieved his luggage and officially moved into the ice house. To reduce cold air seeping through the walls, he first hung a thick blanket on them, then took plastic film from his backpack, covered the table surface, and heated the edges with a heat gun to seal it tightly, preventing the ice from melting. Next, Mark pulled out his gas stove and began preparing dinner. He placed his few remaining bread slices in a flat pan, toasting them golden brown on both sides, then added a layer of cabbage leaves as a topping. Afterward, he cut several pieces of pork belly. He heated oil in the pan and fried the meat slices. The sizzling oil and rich meat aroma quickly filled the entire ice house. Seizing the moment, he placed cheese slices on the toasted bread, using residual heat to slightly melt the cheese, completing a hot sandwich. With the main dish ready, side dishes were also necessary. He reheated the pan with oil and fried sausages until golden brown on both sides. When the sausages were properly cooked, he poured in a can of baked beans, heated them briefly, creating a hearty side dish. Finally, he boiled a kettle of hot tea. I must say, Mark had quite a good appetite. After eating and drinking his fill, his whole body felt warm. He got up and secured a blanket over the entrance to block the howling cold wind outside, then crawled into his sleeping bag for his first night in the ice house. However, at midnight he was awakened by the low temperature, as the insulation couldn't withstand the extreme cold of deep night. He quickly put on his shoes and ran back to the wooden cabin he'd used before. In comparison, the wooden cabin was much warmer and more comfortable.